To the coziest project to hit your craft table this season. For your grandmother, a winter craft project would be a colorful Afghan. Well, today the Afghan is only our inspiration, our jumping off point. It's inspiration for a broad array of ideas using yarns, fibers, and embroidery floss for hand-stitched looks on so many surfaces. Studio 5 party and family fun contributor Sam Spenlove is introducing us to this new look, this new way. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
So I have just myself begun to see kind of the hand-spun art form take on a new shape. The other day I was at City Creek walking past, hand over heart, Anthropology, and their entire window display right now is this chunky jumbo yarn, like wrapped around everything, wrapped around letters, kind of cross-stitched through itself, and it just grabbed my attention immediately because of the size and the scale, but the treatment is a little bit different, would you say?
Yes, I love that display. And I'll be the first one to rave about my grandma's Afghans.
Yeah.
I love them, but it is so fun to see these fiber crafts happening in a new and modern way.
And how would you describe the new and modern way? Is it size? Is it scale? What are we looking at?
I think it's a little bit of everything, but it's simple, and which is good for me because I don't have skills. I couldn't make an Afghan if you paid me.
So fine needlework, not your forte.
No, and you'll see how simple all of these are, but I think it's texture, it's color, it's a variety, like you said, different weights of things that just give it visual interest and make it feel cozy.
I don't know. I'm not going to let you bow out of your talent in this area because I understand you made that sweater.
Yes, but it's so easy, and you know how I feel about templates. I love to make a table with squares and color it in to make it so easy. So we will have the template for this. It's so easy.
I cannot believe you made that.
It's so
you
easy.
Bought the sweater.
Bought the sweater on clearance.
You didn't spin every stitch of that.
No.
On clearance and then dressed it up.
Yep. And the key to
amazing.
that is just like a grid knit, a chunkier knit, so you can kind of see like rows and columns.
Okay.
And then you just stitch X's all over it.
So you're wearing the Afghan.
Oh my gosh.
It's cute. It's so darling.
Thank you.
Way cuter than the Afghan in my grandma's house. I'm just saying.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Grandma. All right, what else? Point us to some projects that you have your eye on.
Okay, so let's start over here. We have these pumpkins. These are artificial carvable pumpkins. These ones are Funkins, which you can get at major craft stores. And this idea came from our friend Jennifer at the Craft Patch. And all you do is, I took a yellow crayon, drew X's all over, drilled the holes, and then just stitched X's. And you'll see a lot of our crafts are cross-stitch because it's the most simple. It requires very little skill. And I love the idea of this for a centerpiece at Thanksgiving, or even cutting out the top and putting a vase of flowers in it would be so cute on a mantle. Yeah. And it's just so cute. And we've actually done something similar to this with planters. So we just got some wood boxes, drilled the holes, and stitched just little zigzags and planted some succulents in it.
Look how cool.
Yeah, and you see there's not that much stitching on it, but if you gave it to someone, that little bit of hand stitching makes it feel so personal and one of a kind.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the really special things about hand stitching.
You had touched on the color combination. There we're seeing kind of a brighter, kind of whimsical rainbow. But back to the pumpkins, I think the way that you have cleverly combined the rich burgundies and mustard yellow with the brighter aesthetics of the teal and the gray, it comes together in a really sophisticated way. Now I'm going to show my lack of understanding here. Don't you have to tie it off or close it off somehow? How do you do that?
These holes are tight enough, it stays in place.
Oh,
so it just stays.
Okay.
So it's so easy.
See, simple. Back to your simplicity.
I told you.
I love it. I was thinking like carve a hole in the pumpkin, reach your hand up. I was getting way too busy about it. All right, what happened here?
Okay, this is more traditional. So this is a traditional cross stitch on a canvas pillow cover. I made this for my first baby's nursery.
Sweet.
And he was in the NICU for a while, and so I worked on it a lot while he was there. And it's just, he still has it in his room, and it's just sentimental and sweet, and we sing this song, and all of it just has meaning with it, which I think again is a thing about hand stitching. Yeah. All of us can remember times someone gave us a blanket or something hand stitched, and there is nostalgia and sentimentality that comes with it. And I think that's beautiful.
I feel tender just thinking what that will mean to him eventually, right? Maybe even living in his own child's nursery. And you went jumbo. Can I jump over our shoulder? Because this is maybe a more traditional example, but here is the bigger kind of scale that I was talking about. Same application?
Yes, so this is just cross stitching again. So simple because pegboards already have the holes. And you would just use our same method of templating it in a table with rows and columns. We'll have the template for this on our blog later this week. And you can see here that Liz made this one and she used different weights of yarn.
Your sister Liz.
On this that gives it different dimension and texture, and it's so awesome. And she did it on the brown side of the pegboard to make it a little more fall, but we've also done something similar to this on the white side of a pegboard, but instead of stitching, we painted the X's. So if you don't want to sit down, or if you don't have the yarn but you have paint, you can accomplish something really similar to this by just painting the X's and getting a similar effect.
So even simplifying it even more. And look at the cool treatment there. It does give you still that dimensional kind of piecey dot to dot effect. But I'm glad you pointed out, so it's the weight of the fibers that is giving me the added dimension here. So some are flatter, closer to the pegboard, and then some are jetting out. This is really cool. Where would you hang this? Where do you think this could play in a home?
Well, you saw in the pictures of the painted one, Liz put that above her desk. If you have a huge wall, we love the idea of, I mean, it's so hard to fill huge walls. And pegboards are relatively inexpensive, so this is an awesome way to have large-scale wall art to fill those giant walls.
How cool. A playroom, a living room, a basement, whatever. But the texture, I mean, designers always say pull in the texture. That's a great way to do it. Okay, jumping back front, these are so fun to look at.
Those so fun.
They're so fun.
So these are my kids, and it's just on photo paper. So I did a little photo shoot with them in the kitchen in whatever they were wearing and made them black and white so the colors would pop. And then I actually just took a pencil and drew the design I wanted. And the key with stitching on paper like this would be that you take your needle and you pre-poke the holes. So that you know when you're coming up the back where to come in.
This is incredible. It's so fun to look at. It looks like the actual background. But there's texture to it.
And I made something like this for my sister-in-law when she had her first baby. It was more like this one with the florals, but it is such a sweet gift because it kind of encapsulates a certain moment, especially for kids. And you can do stitching that fits their personality, which is so sweet.
Well, in the play of the black and white with the color, there's nothing sweeter than black and white. Just seems to draw attention to all of the best things. Those chubby cheeks, those sparkly eyes, and then to add the color enhancers around or beyond or in the background to complement whatever room you're putting in. I love that idea.
Isn't that so cute?
Oh,
and
I love that.
Done something similar with this where we've stitched on notebooks. You could stitch on journals and just add some, you know, personality, that one-of-a-kind element to gifts or home decor or something you're wearing. That is the best part about it.
I'm feeling so inspired. Okay, last but not least, what's behind us?
So this is a stitched rainbow, and this is a good example of how you don't need to use the stitching to make the whole picture. You can use other elements. Felt, I mean, is essentially a fiber art, you know? And so it has the same texture and everything. And then we just stitched around the edges to give it, again, just that one-of-a-kind and dimensional part to it. And one last thing about hand stitching that I love is the imperfections are okay. It makes them original. It makes them unique. It makes them one of a kind. So they don't have to be perfect.
You have kind of turned us on to this new idea of hand-stitched art. And I think as far as aesthetic goes, you've nailed it with the neutral meets the color. I mean, we saw that in every project, right? Here we have the neutral frame, the raw wood with the color splash. That, I think, speaks to this new vibe that we're seeing and feeling. All right, you talked about your website, patterns coming, templates coming. How can we connect?
The blog is prettylifegirls.com, and you can also follow to see when the posts go up on our Instagram at prettylifegirls.
Yeah, you should be following these sisters on Instagram because I love the daily inspiration you're putting out there. So thanks. Keep it coming, you pretty girls.